I haven't dealt specifically with the subject of layers before. In previous tutorials, I have used two types of layer to demonstrate a particular feature, but hadn't gone into great detail about them. In this short series of videos, I want to examine each type of layer in detail. Some types are fairly simple, with few parameters, whilst others are very complex with many parameters. How many I fit into one tutorial will depend upon their complexity. Layers are essentially the building blocks of any complex Hitfilm project. If we discount any video events in the project, which effectively are layers, there are 6 types of layer. Only 3 of the layer types can be placed on the editor timeline, but any one of them can be placed in a composite shot. Some layer types are invisible and are used for either interacting with other layers or for affecting how other layers appear. Let's recap on track hierarchy. If we consider the editor timeline, it can have a number of tracks. The resultant output is processed from lower track to upper track. For instance, if I place an image on the timeline, then place another image above it, the first image will disappear. Some types of layer have no immediate visual effect on events placed below them. I'll deal in detail with these in separate tutorials. The most common layer type is the text layer. This can be used on the editor timeline as well as in a composite shot. It has an alpha background which is set to full transparency, so when placed above an image or video, the text will be superimposed onto that image or video. The plane layer is simply a coloured background layer and, like the text layer, can be used on the editor timeline or in a composite shot. Probably its main use is for creating masks. I dealt with mask creation in tutorial 84. The grade layer is an invisible layer and can exist on the editor timeline or in a composite shot. Its function is to allow all layers underneath it to be color graded. For a quick demonstration, I'll use the grade layer to adjust the color of the plane layer. The colour of the plane hasn't changed. It's the grade layer that's affecting the output. That's a quick demo. I'll give more detail in a tutorial dedicated to grade layers. The point layer is another invisible layer and can only be added to a composite shot. When parented to one or more layers, manipulation of the point layer causes all the parented layers to move with it. Here I'm not manipulating the plane layer. I'm manipulating the point layer, and the plane layer is following it. I demonstrated a practical use of a point layer in tutorial 83 when I dealt with motion tracking. The camera layer is used in a three-dimensional environment to navigate around that environment. Any two-dimensional layers in the composite shot will not be affected by camera movement. The light layer is used for illuminating the scene in various ways. To add a light layer, you must already have a camera layer in the composite shot. If you haven't, you will be prompted to add one when you add the light layer. Multiple light layers can be created and manipulated to create various combinations of lighting. They can exist in a two-dimensional environment, but they only have an effect on three-dimensional layers. All will be explained in the light layer tutorial. Of course, there's one other type of layer. That's the media layer, and is usually the base element of the composite shot. Where it's placed in the track structure depends upon how it's being composited with the other layers. So that's a brief overview of layer types. In the following tutorials, I'll be dealing with each layer type in detail. How much detail will depend upon the layer type. For instance, I've used the text layer type in many of my tutorials, so I may limit the detail in that tutorial. Join me next time when I'll be dealing with plane layers. Until then, bye for now.